What is up, you guys? You're watching Sergio, and before I get started with today's video, if you can please give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So today, I feel like I have not done kind of like a sit down and talk to all of my beautiful subscribers in quite a while. I feel like it's always been kind of like sit down videos and things that I have to get done, but I feel like I really wanted to have a chit chat with you guys. These are not my most watched videos, but I feel like the people that watch these videos connect and relate to me in sort of a sense. So I always love to do these videos, and you know, every once in a while I feel like I used to do them a little bit more regularly, but now I only do them very so often. But don't get me wrong, I still go through things, I still go through the BS, I still go through the gig. Let me know if you want me to do a video about me living in Houston and transitioning everything, because I would love to do that video. But today's going to be a story time, and it's just going to be like things that I grew up as a child, like as a gay Hispanic male or a gay Hispanic boy, man, I don't know. I'm 21, so you can decide what you want me to be. For me, I just wanted to talk about, you know, kind of my experiences growing up and what led me to have such a passion for designer handbags, for clothes and fashion, everything. You know, because for me, I feel like when people meet me, and this is like a lot of people think like that don't know anything about my YouTube channel, that have nothing to know, that knows nothing about me, when I go out and I meet my friends' friends, or I meet, you know, just people in general, people, you know, usually think that I'm pretty mean, I'm pretty stuck up, but that's honestly the opposite of me. I'm actually quite anxious, I'm very nervous, but I never use that as an excuse. You will never see me use being anxious, nervous, anxiety, none of that as an excuse. For me, in my opinion, for me, myself, I can only speak for myself, and I'm only speaking from my heart in this video, and I'm only speaking for myself. I think that's all excuses in my book, like through like myself. I feel like I use that as an excuse to not get ahead in life and to not reach the next chapter in my life. And this is just for me. I want to emphasize for me. If you have bad anxiety and you don't like to go outside and intervene, that's on you. If I'm using it for myself, I see that I've used that as an excuse in the past, and I try not to do that. I kind of wanted to talk about my passion for handbags and kind of give you a story time of my first designer handbag. So I briefly mentioned this a couple weeks back on my Instagram. I suggest you guys follow me on Instagram because I post a lot of great deals, like things that I never really go on sale. I post a little bit more, and I just, if you guys like to shop, if you guys like to see what's up in my life, I suggest you guys follow me. This top is from Topshop. I love it so much. I'll leave it linked down below. And so for me, I'm gonna give you the story time of my first designer handbag, and how was it like me kind of like being gay, and kind of like me kind of growing up, and the things that I had to get done, and all this has grown me into the person that I am. And also, I also want to say, you know, I don't necessarily blame my parents for everything that happened, because I feel like at the end of the day, they wanted to protect me in a sense. So I'm not upset, I'm not mad the way that things are. I learned to let things go. I learned to accept things, and I learned to keep it moving. And so for me, I always say, girl, take your L, take your loss, take whatever, and just kind of keep it moving in life. I'm not the type of person to be stuck in the past, like crying at a bar at 2 in the morning, talking about how I wasn't able to do cheer because my dad didn't want me to do cheerleading. Like you won't see me do that. I'm the type of person like, you know what, I learned from it, you know, regardless if it from good or bad, and I just kind of keep it moving. So that's just kind of my mentality, and that's why I'm not necessarily one of those type of people that get stuck in the past, because I know I have a bright future. I know I have like a lot of things planned ahead, and you know, it's always good to reference things in the past, but you will never really see me be so emotional. And first of all, I feel like this is like the first video that I actually open up a lot about myself. I know I've talked about myself in the past, but today I feel like I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys, and I kind of wanted to like chit chat and kind of talk about, you know, things that I grew up happening, and kind of give you like mini story times to see, so you can kind of see my point of view of why I love all this. When people see this, they think it's superficial, they think it's, you know, it's materialistic, or, you know, I'm a brand person, you know, but you have to understand where I came from and how I grew up to see how, you know, this is more than a jacket to me, this is more than a handbag to me, this is more than a pair of sunglasses. It has a story, it has meaning towards me, and you know, every single thing I can honestly tell you when I bought it, how I bought it, what did I buy in the store, online, how much I paid for it. I can tell you everything about every single item in my closet, and because everything for me has a story time, regardless if it was a gift from somebody, if it was, you know, given from a brand, if it was something that I paid for, something that I put blood, sweat, and tears, like my Chanel Classic flap. You know, everything that I have definitely has a story behind it. So let's go ahead and get started. When I'm just gonna be talking, guys, and if you get, feel free to grab a tea, feel free to grab, you know, whatever, because I probably will be talking a lot, because ustedes saben que yo hablo mucho. So background for me, so I grew up in well, I was born in Irving, Texas, and then I lived in Euless for a little bit, and I went to Euless ISD, or like Euless, Hearst, and Bedford ISD. I think it's called HEB, and for like a few years, and then I ended up moving to Grand Prairie, and all the schools that I went to were in Arlington, and it was more of a boundary thing. So I went to all my schools were in Arlington. And so if you guys know where that's at, you guys know where it's at. So I grew up in the suburbs of Dallas before I started moving into the cities, and now I'm a real city girl, city boy type lifestyle. But growing up, I was basically, my mom would be the type of person that would always buy us our clothes. We really never had a say. I wouldn't say we grew up necessarily poor, but we also didn't necessarily grow up rich. I feel like my parents just kind of passed by means as growing up, and obviously every single year they kind of elevated themselves as far as like starting more businesses, maybe putting a little bit more hours, getting more bonuses, and kind of climbing up the ladder. That was kind of my parents growing up. So I can drastically see like me being like in 2nd and 3rd grade, and then kind of seeing how, you know, gradually, you know, things started being a lot more economically better as I was in junior high and high school. So they really put into work, so, you know, me and my brother could have a nice future. And so for me, you know, I grew up, I remember in 1st grade I grew up with 1 pair of shoes. They were a pair of Adidas that my mom bought at Kohl's that were on clearance, and she used Kohl's Cash on it, and that was the only pair of shoes that I had. I remember back to school, I would have like those $7.98 Epic Thread shirts from Macy's, or like $10 shirts from Macy's, and I would have like 2 Levi jeans, and that was what I had for the 1st semester, and 1 pair of jeans, and then obviously plus the little clothing that I had. And so I never really necessarily had a say in a lot of my clothes, but I always wanted to express myself. Growing up, I remember going to my mom's closet to, you know, play with her handbags, to play with shoes, or even my dad's clothes. That was something that I was always very passionate about, something that I always loved, and I just loved the story behind it. You know, I would go into my mom's and my dad's closet, same thing, my brother's closet, and I would always look at everything. I remember, oh, my dad gave this to my mom for Valentine's Day, oh, my dad got this for his birthday, or we bought this, you know, on April 25th, you know, 2008, you know, 2008. So I would always remember everything, and I always loved the story behind everything. And growing up, I did have emotional attachment with a lot of items. Growing up, I would hate to sell things, I would hate to donate things, I would hate to sell things in garage sales. I would always be emotionally attached. Now I'm not necessarily emotionally attached with anything. I can honestly let anything go. Maybe there's like a few pieces that I cannot physically let go for the life of me, but for the most part, you know, I learned to kind of let things go, and I would use those kind of trinkets and items kind of like cloud my vision into the future. And so I kind of grew up, you know, just kind of like, you know, just, you know, getting by. And obviously I was gay. I always knew I was gay. And so whenever I grew up, I remember the first time somebody called me the F word. I remember like just like everything. I remember the first time I got bullied. I got assaulted in junior high. I got assaulted really bad, and it was in gym class. And I remember I made a big deal about it, and my parents were so upset, and you know, it was bad because then I had to go back to gym class with all the other kids. And I remember all those kids were telling me to myself. I remember being called every single word in the book, and I would go home and cry every single day. And it's funny when you look back, because I don't really reference like things in the past, but you know, some of those people actually reach out to me and are in my DMs telling me, oh, I'm so proud of you, blah 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 blah, or you know, I'm back in my hometown, and you know, I'm just at Target with my parents, or you know, I'm out and about. And you know, I run into those people try to come up to me, or they recognize me, not because of YouTube, but they recognize me that I'm somebody from their past, and maybe they'll come up to me. But for the most part, I don't really reference a lot of people from high school, junior high, elementary. There's only a few handful of people that would actually say hi. Obviously, if somebody says hi, I'm not a rude person. I may just say hi and kind of keep it very short, because that's just me, and that's with everybody. I'm not a mean person. I can never, you know, whatever people do bad to me is their karma, but how I react is always gonna be my karma. So I always see things from that point of view. So whenever I see people screw me over or F me over, karma's gonna get them eventually. And so I kind of let things kind of go. And I'm a very, very nice and very, very sweet person, but that's something that I need to work on. I'm a little bit too nice, and that's probably one of the weaknesses that I have, is that I'm just a very, very caring person. You know, I'm the type, I'm the type where if my friend needed, you know, $600 to pay their rent left, I would give them the $600 and I would not expect that to get back. So things like that, like I would do, but I'm trying to not as nice, but I'm trying to be considerate within myself and see that people maybe are using me or trying to take advantage of me just because I'm a very, very sweet person. Growing up, I just remember, you know, that happening, and then like after a few weeks later, that person that assaulted me really, really, really bad, that was so traumatizing. You know, and I don't want to get into details, but I remember, you know, I felt horrible, and, you know, I felt like, why should I have to change my schedule to accommodate this person that assaulted me, you know, that was 2 years older than me? Why do I have to change everything? Shouldn't he be the one that his schedule should change? And so I will say, you know, that was one of the biggest things that I didn't like about junior high and high school. And I went to Barnett Junior High, and I'm just gonna say it because I really don't care. And then I graduated from Bowie High School, and then I graduated like 2 years early at Venture High School. And usually when, you know, I'll kind of go into the I'll go into my high school years. And so I just remember, you know, just, you know, I've always had it kind of hard throughout school. I was always the outcast. I was always the one with no friends. I was always the one that would, you know, have, you know, like, you know, when you see like those music videos, when you see those kids having their lunch tray in the restroom crying, that would definitely be me. I would be in the restroom crying, or I wouldn't eat, or, you know, I would walk out of school and, you know, just go sit behind, you know, a bench, or try to kind of find a little hiding spot, and I would just kind of chill there. I didn't have an iPhone until like I think 8th grade, so I didn't really have an iPhone. I would always have a flip phone, and that's because my parents were very strict and they didn't want me to have an iPhone. You'll see kind of like my parents were very, very regiment. My parents were very strict on me. They wanted me to go to college. They wanted me to make straight A's. They wanted me to be kind of like that perfect Hispanic student, something that, you know, my mom and my dad could kind of brag to, or kind of use me kind of like as a trophy. But I always lived up to that, and to a certain extent, until I just kind of realized what I want and what works for me in my lifestyle and what I want for my future. And so, you know, growing up, I did have it very strict parents, and then I also was bullied basically till the day I graduated. Even when I graduated, I remember, you know, people in alternative school that have a lot of issues, you know, still being bullied, still being called every name in the book. I still remember all those days. You know, I can think about it from the flashback, and I can remember, you know, somebody spitting in my face. I can remember, you know, people trying to, you know, I would have my designer bags, and some teachers wouldn't let me leave the classroom without it. You know, I would have my Prada Luxe tote, things that I worked hard for, my Louis Vuitton bag, and things that I would work for by selling candy in high school. And like I would work at Chick-fil-A, and then I would kind of do things here and there at my dad's job. So like I would always kind of like do things here and there. And I remember like teachers would not let me leave my bag. I would have, if I wanted to go to the restroom, I would have to leave my bag in the classroom in case, so I wouldn't skip school. And so I remember people going through my wallet, people taking stuff, and, you know, I had it pretty rough. And I would say a lot of the administration was quite awful, if you ask me as well. I blame them in a sense, but I will also never say, like, I will never try to seek revenge. I would never try to seek, you know, things like that, because people get their karma. I remember even in 6th grade, there was this teacher, and she would always make fun of me because I would always use this little pencil bag from Ed Hardy when that was a thing, and I would use it like as a little clutch. And I remember she would make fun of me and tell the other teachers, she'd be like, oh, what do you have, like, you know, just trying to be, you know, sarcastic. And, you know, those things would bother me, and I would say stuff to the principal, I would say stuff to the assistant principal, and no one ever seemed to kind of listen to me. And so I kind of always grew up from administration, from teachers to students, to kind of everybody. But I did have those few teachers that really kind of did listen to me and did really hear me, that kind of let me express myself how I wanted to. And I did have a few friends like that as well. But when my definition of friends is way different what other people consider friends. And so so I ended up going through junior high pretty fast, and then I went to high school. And then kind of like like in the beginning of my junior year, I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot be in school anymore. I have to get out. Like, I just do not want to be here. I have to get out of here. And so I ended up going alternative school. So alternative school is like people that have kind of issues, where maybe they're pregnant, maybe they have gotten arrested, problems, you know, just some sort of issues. And so for me, I was just like, I was kind of like the token child there, because I was the one that wasn't pregnant. Obviously, I wasn't the one that had like any issues at all. I was just kind of like a normal kid just trying to graduate. And so by the time that I kind of went to alternative school, I got my car. So I was just kind of like driving myself, and I would go to night school every day that I didn't work. I would go to night school. I would just try to finish so hard. So I basically finished like almost 2 years of school in like a semester, and everybody told me that it was not going to happen, that I was not going to graduate early. But like when I told you, I put in work. Like when I told myself I'm gonna graduate, and I said if I don't graduate before the end of this Christmas semester, I'm just gonna drop out. Like I said, I don't really care. I want to drop out. Obviously I couldn't because I wasn't 18 or 17. I think it's 17 here in Texas. So I was just like, I have to get out of here. So you know, I finished it. I put in so much work, so much hour. Obviously I did kind of skip some classes if things weren't necessary. I just didn't skip it. Like I think for certain credits you weren't necessarily, and I know, like I knew that I wasn't gonna go to college. So for me, I was just like, you know what, I don't really care if I miss out on certain like credits and stuff, because college was not something in my book. I was an avid. Everybody wanted me to go to college. I applied to so many schools. I got accepted to so many schools. But I just honestly, even with like a full ride or like half rides, I didn't get accepted full rides, but I got like half rides. I got accepted grants and stuff like that. But honestly, it just wasn't for me. And even now, honestly, if I were to go back to school, it would honestly be for a trade school, like something to learn, like HVAC or something like that. But I would never like go into like a 4-year degree or 6-year degree. That's just not something that I would do. I would do maybe like financial classes and stuff like that that are more kind of like a semester course, or maybe to learn a new language. But for me to go back to full school, I just cannot do it. I don't have the patience for it, nor the time, nor the energy, nor the effort to put in my 100% and all. And so I just didn't end up going to college, and I think things are kind of working out for me as of right now. And so I ended up graduating high school early, and then I started working at Chick-fil-A, and then I started working at Nordstrom Rack, and then Nordstrom, and then I started YouTube. And then once I started getting that YouTube and the affiliate money, and then, you know, all the Nordstrom checks, and then everything else in between that I have on the sides, you know, I kind of moved out, and then now I'm here in Houston. So everything's kind of, you know, play it by ear, but everything's working. But as far as my first handbag, my first handbag was a Coach handbag. I got it from the Coach factory outlet. I was like 16 or 15. I think I was 15 or even 14. I remember we were about to go to Monterrey for, I forgot for what, for some sort of reason. And so I bought it like in June or July because it was during the summertime. And I remember I would just go through like my dad's car, my mom's car, and I would like get coins. And I would just I just had like a little bit of cash, like lunch money. I would save it. And back then $60 was a lot to me. And so I ended up saving those $60, and I ended up buying the bag. And I was with my mom. No, my mom was like at another store at the outlet. And when I walked out with it, my mom was like so upset. She was like, oh, why do you have a handbag? Like, it's not cute. You're wasting your money, and blah, 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 blah. And it's not that the handbag wasn't ugly. I feel like my mom just didn't want me to kind of start into that circle. Well, now I have handbags, and then I'm going to start maybe into makeup, or I don't know, like to like, you know, things like that, to like maybe women's clothing and stuff like that. So that's how it kind of started. And I also remember that same year on my birthday, I remember my aunt gave me like $100, and at Saks Off Fifth there was like Michael Kors when it was very in, and I wanted a Michael Kors monogram bag. My mom would not let me buy it. She was like, if you bought it, I'm gonna leave you here. Like, you're not gonna buy that home. Like, you're just not gonna take it home. And I remember I got so upset. I was so sad because, you know, I wanted to buy the bag so bad. And I remember even on my birthday when I had my Coach bag, like I remember my parents telling me, you know, you have to leave the bag at home or we're not gonna celebrate your birthday. So it was always kind of like little things like that that would kind of blockade me from, you know, kind of expressing myself. And I remember that birthday, I said, oh, you know what, I just rather just stay at home. And I remember like crying and being at home with my bag, and because I was stubborn, but also at the end of the day, for me, it was a handbag. I didn't really see anything wrong with it, and I still don't see anything wrong with it. And so for me, that's why for me, birthdays are always kind of sad for me. Like I've never really had like a perfect birthday, never. I just see my birthday as a regular day. And I don't know, I kind of cringe when people make a big deal about my birthday. I don't really like, maybe this year will be a little bit different, but for me, birthdays are just not my thing. I've always never been a birthday type of person, just because it was always kind of back and forth. Like, oh, for my birthday I want to go to the mall, and then, you know, maybe I wanted something to splurge on, and my parents would be like, no, you cannot have that, but you can have this. And so for me, it was just, I was never really to express myself. I never really got my own ways growing up. And so for me, that's when I know that I'm grown, you know, I don't really have to ask people for anything. I don't have to ask people for favors. If I want something, I can literally just get it myself. And that's why I don't really depend on anybody but myself to provide for myself, to put food on the plate, to buy the latest jacket, to buy rebuy my moisturizer, to pay for my haircut, to pay for a car note. I don't really rely on people to do that for me, or rely on people, oh, can you do me this favor? If I can do it myself, I would do it myself, because there's nothing like doing things yourself. And I just remember it was always things like that. I remember, you know, I would like, in high school, I would always carry my big Vans backpack, and I would have my mom's Michael Kors bags, and I would wear the Michael Kors bag. Like, my mom would drop me off school, or I would take the bus, and then I would have the big backpack, and then I would go into the restroom, and then I would put the big tote, like if it was a tote or bag, I would wear the crossbody, and then I would wear the backpack, and nobody could tell me anything. I was living my best life. Or I remember I would wear like jeans, or like very kind of loose jeans, and I would have like Victoria's Secret leggings that like, I did have like some friends that would like leave campus for high school, and I remember the mall wasn't too far from school, and I remember I would go and buy like Victoria's Secret leggings, or I would go buy like Victoria's Secret sweatshirts and things like that that I kind of wanted, and obviously I was paying for myself. And I remember I could not have those things out and about. I would always have to kind of like hide them between my parents, and I would always have like a little section in my closet where, in the back of my closet, where I would have like, you know, Victoria's Secret leggings, I would have Lululemon leggings, I would have sweatshirts, I would have, you know, just things that I was basically not allowed to have. And so that's why I told myself, you know, once I'm able to move out, I'm gonna take the plunge and move out, because honestly I kind of want to do things myself, and I don't really, that's one thing about me growing up. I'm very stubborn in my ways. It's either my way or nobody's way, but I'm also very lenient on a lot of things. For me to be pissed off and to be mad, I don't think you guys have ever seen me mad or upset. You know, I go through so many different things, so many different emotions, getting, you know, effed over, you know, left and right, but you never really see me mad. I'm never the type of person to be mad. You know, when I'm mad, it's either I pop off and I go off, which it never really comes out, or I just am very quiet and you will not hear me say a word, but my facial expressions says that I'm pissed off. Like, you can sense the energy. But, you know, all those things would happen. Like, I was not allowed to have handbags, I was not allowed to have, you know, sweatshirts, I was not allowed to have leggings. I remember I tried out for cheerleading, and I actually made the team, and my parents did not want to let me go into cheerleading even though I could pay for it. And I remember that was so embarrassing, having to go to school and tell my teacher, you know, the next day, like, oh, you know, never mind, it's not gonna work out, even though she knew that I really wanted to be a cheerleader. I really wanted to do it. And this was the year that I was gonna be a junior, and so that's why I felt like I graduated early, was because I was just like so embarrassed that I would see all my other friends or all my other peers, like, you know, try out and make the team. And the thing is, I made the team, but my parents just wouldn't allow me to be on the team. And so I remember I was so sad. Like, I would cry during the summer. I remember in the summertime I would have no friends. I would literally just be sat in my bed just watching YouTube, being with my dog, and just being in there the entire summer, and not really talking to anybody or interacting with anybody, because I didn't have any friends. I would go on social media and I would see all these people going to Six Flags, or, you know, doing these different things, and it was usually just me at home just doing nothing, because I had no friends, or just me spending time with my brother or my dog. And so for me, you know, I grew up kind of like, I wouldn't say I had a bad childhood or bad teenage years. I just felt like I was very sheltered a lot. And so that's why I feel like now I'm like such a crazy person. Like, I'm so like crazy, I'm so spontaneous, I'm always going with the flow, I'm always, you know, down to do a lot of crazy things and to try and experience a lot of different things, just because I feel like growing up I was kind of like deprived of all that stuff. I wouldn't say I'm like crazy and reckless at the point where, you know, I'm doing like crazy life decisions that can impact me or impact other people in very negative ways. It's just like I'm just more willing to try like a lot of different things, or willing to, you know, have more experiences and do these different things. And it's because, you know, for me, I just kind of grew up, you know, I grew up very kind of closeted in a sense. And so for me, I would just, you know, kind of, you know, be all in a sense of that. And I remember me and my dad, me and my mom, me and my brother, I feel like they would all kind of like attack me in a sense where, you know, if I would wear something like this, or if I wore a shirt that was literally pink, not even from the brand Victoria's Secret Pink, or just a shirt that said pink, like a color shirt that was pink or purple. I remember my parents were not here for it. My brother was like, ew, what the fuck are you wearing? Like, I was just not allowed to like have those type of things and, you know, accept those things. I remember growing up, like, my parents wanted me to go to college, and I had kind of like lied to them. I was like, oh, like, I'm going to go to college, but by the time kind of everything happened, I kind of already dipped. And you know, me and my parents have a good relationship now because we're like a lot of distance and we don't really bump heads. But it was pretty bad, you know, towards the end of me. That's why you see kind of like how I started my channel, how I was like a little bit bigger. Is I was very depressed, I was very sad, I was going through like a lot of different emotions, a lot of different things. And I think maybe I was like, what, I'm 21 now, I think I was like 19, so I was going through like a lot of different things. And you know, for me, I always kind of wanted better for myself, but I just felt like I was kind of like stuck in a deep hole. But here's where like YouTube and like Nordstrom and people that supported me and people that just love me and want the best for me, that's when it comes for all of you guys, because you guys have really like changed my life. Like when I meet you guys make me smile. You guys, you know, maybe shy or like nervous, but you guys really make my day. You guys really make my night. You know, meeting the friends, you know, if I didn't move to Houston, I wouldn't have experienced certain experiences. I wouldn't have, you know, met the friends that I have. If I didn't move to Dallas and experience things myself, I wouldn't have grown and changed as a person. So for me, I feel like with every rainy cloud or with any bad cloud, you know, there's a rainbow at the end of that. There's always going to be something forward to look forward to. So, you know, even though I reflect and I look back on a lot of the things, like not be able to do cheerleading, not be able to wear leggings, not be able to have UGG boots, not able to carry a purse, not being able to wear foundation, not being able to this. And I remember like one time my dad caught me wearing foundation, he got so mad. And I remember like when he would take me to school, he would like grab like a tissue paper and like would go like this to make sure if I was wearing foundation or not. But best to believe, after I got dropped off, I would wear it, and then I would say maybe after school, and I would like spend, I would spend after school, you know, I would grab a Neutrogena makeup wipe and I would go and like take it off, and then my dad would pick me up. It was always kind of like little things like that that I felt like I shouldn't have been able, like I should have just been able to express myself the way I was, and I shouldn't have been able, like I feel like for me, I feel like there was never a reason for me to kind of, you know, do all those things. The reason why I always had to kind of like hide myself and kind of hide my identity. I remember like I had a profile picture all by MAC. Oh my god, those are like the real OG days. Or like an Ariana Grande collab lipstick, and I had it as my profile picture. And I remember my parents got so mad, like, oh, what the fuck, Sergio, you're wearing, what the fuck are you posting? Like, you're embarrassing me, you're a disgrace, you're embarrassing your family. And it was just always kind of like things like that. And obviously I'm being kind of PG and kind of the things that I'm saying, but it was actually, I mean, it was actually pretty bad the way I grew up. And as you can see now, I'm just kind of like, you know, I just kind of do my own thing. I don't really depend like on a lot of people. I just kind of have my close friends that I, you know, I can count on my hand right here. And I just kind of like to do things myself. You see in vlogs, I like to travel by myself. I like to do things myself because for me, I just rather live my truth, and I never want to feel like I have to hide myself, hide my identity in front of people. Now, since the tables have turned within like my parents and my family, stuff like that, you know, my parents obviously, they want to see me, they want to spend time with me. And for me, like, you either accept me the way that I am, or I'm okay with not seeing you, if I'm being quite honest, or with like certain family members or certain this. And that's why I cut off like a lot of people. Like I remember one time, and this is why like I remember like 2 years ago I posted a video where like, you know, people talk negatively, and it was because like one of my uncles was like talking very bad about me. And you know, it's just like, you know, I'm not gonna go where I'm not wanted. And that's why I'm just very like distant with a lot of people, just because I'd rather protect my own space, my own energy, my own peace. And I feel like I don't have to give anybody an explanation. I don't have to give this, I don't have to give that, because I can do honestly things myself. Obviously I move kind of like more in silence as far as like family stuff, and I don't really talk about it, because for me, I feel like I grow up like, I don't know, I feel like I always grew up with like a lot of unnecessary drama, like a lot of like Hispanic kind of like, you know, like machisto, like all that type of stuff growing up. And so for me, I was just never like, I never wanted to be a part of that narrative, and I never wanted to grow up to be like that. And so for me, that's why I'm like the crazy person that I am now. Even though it may not seem like it, I am pretty crazy in a sense. But you know, I'm living my truth, I'm living my best life. And when I go to sleep, when I pour my cup of tea before I go to sleep and then brush my teeth and go to bed, I wake up pretty happy. I wake up pretty content. I wake up every single day ready to start a new day, to go at it at life, like echarle ganas, and I feel like that's how it should be. And you know, it took a long way to be like this. And I know when people say, oh, Sergio, you have such like a strong mindset, you have strong bones, like I can believe you're 21 and you're doing things on yourself, like, you know, you could buy whatever you want at any time, you have credit score, cars, moving by yourself, you know, the little things that I have. And it's all because it was the will that I wanted a salir adelante. I wanted to get ahead in my life. If I would have been still stuck in Grand Prairie, I wouldn't even know what I would have been doing, honestly. If I would have still listened to my parents, if I still would have listened to negative people, I would have listened to people that bullied me, to people, teachers that bullied me, to my parents, to my brother, to, you know, whoever, tios, tias, cousins, you know, family, friends, I still would have been stuck there. And honestly, I wouldn't have been happy. But at least I can say right now in 2022, within the last year, I've been happy and I've been living my best life, and I love it. And so where there's a will and there's a way, and that's why for me it's very hard for me to sympathize with people that are mad. They're saying capitalists failed them, or, you know, I'm complaining about this, complaining about that. I'm like, honey, there's a job that you can get. You know, you can hustle. You know, people think that things are made easy overnight. They're not. It's a work, it's a process. You know, you're not gonna be living a lavish lifestyle like this. You're not going to have it all like this. You know, I don't have it all. I'm nowhere near where I want to be at, but I do it because every single day I hustle. Every single day I want to get ahead in life. Every single day I am happy and eager to fight another day. I'm grateful just to even breathe. I'm grateful that I have perfect health. I'm perfect that I have health insurance, that, you know, if I end up being sick, that I don't, you know, have insurance that kind of cover for that. I'm thankful and I'm happy. I'm happy that I have this camera. I'm happy that I have a phone. I'm happy that I have even shoes, because I remember growing up, my dad would tell me he would have this, and now I have a closet full of over 50 pairs of designer shoes. So I'm even grateful just to even have one pair of shoes. And so for me, that's just kind of my mentality growing up. I'm very kind of like tough love, but I'm also very compassionate and very understanding of people. But I'm also very strict on people, because when people ask me for things, I'm just like, girl, like, you need to kind of like get your life together. Only have really one life to live. And, you know, I've seen, you know, family members and stuff kind of come and go. I remember growing up, you know, one of my cousins got by in Mexico, and seeing, you know, those videos and stuff were very traumatizing. You know, I've been through quite a bit of things in life, and I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's been sad, it's been teary. You know, I've had good moments, I've had bad moments, but I feel like the reason why I'm mature, the reason why I act the way I act, the reason that way that I am, that I dress, that I think, it's because growing up, I feel like I feel like everything that I went through as a child, and I feel like I grew up as a strong child, as a strong mindset, because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have survived, or people would have failed off the things that people go through. And I'm just going through surface. There's a lot more things that happened growing up, but I feel like that kind of shaped me into the person that I am now. And so for me, that's when people ask me, oh, like, how old are you? People say I'm 28, 29, or 26, or 30. I don't really see that as a disrespect. I see that more as a compliment, because people see that I'm mature, people see that I have my shit together, people see that, you know, I'm good on myself. And so my message to this video, and my message to all of my beautiful subscribers, is whatever rut you're going through, and I'm particularly making this video for the people that are maybe gay or Hispanic, or people that kind of went through kind of my background, that you know, things do get better. The tunnel does open up at the end of the day. You know, it's going to be hard, it's not going to be easy, you know, working a fast food job, working this or that, but at the end of the day, where there's a will, there's a way. And for me, I pray a lot, I use God a lot, and that's why I always, you know, have something religious on me, holy water. And so for me, you know, I always, you know, I'm always just thankful, and for everybody, you know, life gets better regardless what age you are, regardless of 15, 30, 45, whatever you're going through. You're gonna get through it. And you know, it sucks, it's gonna be hard, it's more easier said than done. For me, I'm saying it and it sounds so easy, but you don't know all the things that happen behind the closed doors. So life gets better, and if you want something for yourself, stop waiting for life to happen. You know, stop waiting for shit to get into your lap. Go do it yourself, baby, because no one else. At the reality, if you want to build an empire, nobody's gonna do it. No one's gonna work as hard. Do the things as the way you want them, as yourself. So that's my story time for you guys. I love each and every single one of you. Hopefully you guys got to see a little bit more of understanding of me and see where I'm coming from. As you can see in this video, I didn't really get emotional, because I feel like all that, you know, I've already cried enough in my childhood, so I don't need to cry anymore. So I'm a big boy, I can do things myself, and you know, I can just reflect on the past and, you know, just look at things and kind of keep it moving. So hopefully you guys learned something from me. Hopefully you guys get to see a different point of view for myself, see the way that I am and the way kind of how crazy I can be, and get a different point of view. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video, that life does get better, and at the end of the tunnel, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. So thank you so much for all my beautiful subscribers that have been supporting me since yesterday to years ago. I really appreciate it. It really means the world to me, and I'll see you guys on the next video. I'll be more back into my handbag content, but you guys have changed my life, and I have nothing but to be grateful and have a lot of gratitude towards you guys. And thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye guys, and take care.